Hello, this is Medieval 1100 AD, a mod for Rome 2 Total War. The ancient world is converted to the Middle Ages. The campaign for this mod is in closed beta testing right now, and I am looking forward to when it is released to the public. With that said, we do have access to custom battles, and we will have one between the Almoravids and the Kingdom of Castile and Leon. This fight is taking place in a desert, and the Almoravids have brought more troops to the battle compared to the Kingdom of Castile and Leon, who have less troops but more quality. And the Almoravids do have artillery in the form of onagers, and I believe those are some scorpions, but they also have a fair amount of spears. So we have the Kingdom of Castile and Leon rushing forward with their infantry, a lot of swords and spears. They have a good contingent of soldiers. The Spadadanches, I presume they're swordsmen, calls their name, and you can tell by their unit icon. They are some elite spears behind them, and along with some range units such as crossbowmen and slingers and almogavars. The elite troops they are bringing with them are members of the Order of Santiago, a religious and military order from Spain, and they are the Santiago foot sergeants, and they have heavy crossmen moving in behind them. They also have a contingent of cavalry, 2 units of those I think, could be more, and there is crossbowmen getting ready in the back there, and the cavalry is preparing. Those are the Order of the Santiago's cavalry. Those are heavy knights and will be very useful for charging into their enemy. And over on the battlefield in the center, near to the right flank, mostly center, the 2 armies are preparing to clash with the Spanish Kingdom of Castile and Leon, surging forward and charging toward the Almoravids troops who are moving into the attack as well. And behind that, they have the general who is remaining in reserve throughout all of this. He must be very calm and waiting for his moment to come to strike. And the melee has begun, a brutal brawl between the Spadadanches, and arrows fly in there. Castilians fighting as well, the medium melee infantry, and they are all in one big brawl around that part of the battlefield. Arrow volleys are raining down onto both sides. With the troops all engaged in the battle, they will be preoccupied and will be unable to deal with any sort of cavalry charge from either side of the field. And a lot of cavalry. Oh, look, a move from the commander of the Kingdom of Castile and Leon. The Santiago Knights have ran into the Almoravids, hitting those noble swordsmen and doing a bit of damage before backing off, but a few cavalry are trapped inside and they will be killed, and their horses are fleeing the field. And more groups of infantry are charging in for the Almoravids to back up their comrades, their brothers in arms already in the fray, and it is a true all-out engagement between the 2 sides. This will determine who will win the battle and who will lose because of the amount of infantry here. If they lose this fight, they will not be able to replace them. And the cavalry of the Almoravids, along with their commander, is beginning to maneuver to the far right flank and perhaps a hope to charge from that side. And over to the left, some spears have ran into that other unit of Santiago Knights. It is the worst thing those knights could run into. Even though they are very heavy shot cavalry, those spearmen are designed and intended to take down cavalry, but artillery is firing into both sides. They're hitting their own troops, and that is the Almoravid onagers flying those flaming rocks overhead, but they do hit their own men. But the Santiago Knights are on the run. A lot of the cavalry from the Kingdom of Castile and Leon have already been beaten and are driven back. Some crossbowmen are moving in to take on some javelinmen from the Almoravids, charging in with their maces and axes. The Arabian javelinmen and the crossbowmen will soon fight one another. The cavalry of the Almoravids over to the right with the Ascari nobles are quickly moving and dashing across the field. Those cavalry can cover ground very quickly. They are moving to attack the general, the commander of the Kingdom of Castile and Leon. A group of Santiago Knights protects him, and they are now fighting the Ascari nobles and Arabian cavalry. If the commander is killed, it will be a certain doom for the Kingdom of Castile and Leon's chances of winning. And the infantry engagement seems to be over, and Almoravids are pushing forward since their counterparts themselves have been pushed back. But a few units are still bravely fighting, such as the elite spears holding back some of the Almoravid soldiers right now. Such as here, the elite Santiago foot sergeants are nearly surrounded, at least it seems like that. And the archers of the Almoravids are firing their shot into the Kingdom of Castile and Leon's troops, but they do not seem to be facing them, so they seem quite unfazed by those volleys. But the tribespeople and elite spears are fighting, and artillery continues to rain down from that onager that has been very useful, and the almogavars and the archers of the Kingdom of the Castile and Leon are now forced to face the Almoravid counterparts, with the general of the Kingdom of Castile and Leon constantly in danger from the cavalry. If he does not escape, we all know the consequences. the Kingdom of Castile and Leon will lose for certain. And it is not a good look. Like, he just looked like he was just about to rout there. And the infantry brawl continues, but the Almoravids have been gaining the upper hand gradually over time, wearing down the Spanish soldiers they are facing. They have been very brave. That is, the warriors of the Kingdom of Castile and Leon have held on for as long as they can, but are being overwhelmed. The Santiago foot sergeants are beginning to waver because they were attacked in their flank. They are fighting against the Almoravid Almogavars, but they are slowly losing their numbers and overrun because of their losses prior to this engagement in this part of the battle. And the cavalry is now freed up for the Almoravids. They have killed off the commander of the Kingdom of Castile and Leon and are now attacking the archers and the ranged units of their enemy. And there is some slingers that have tried to pelt them with some rocks, but I don't think that's going to stop them. Even some javelins, I don't think that's going to do. And their advance seems unstoppable, and it will probably be unstoppable for these poor ranged units to deal with, as they are not really equipped with the best of weapons, as you can see with the maces here. And those archers are just in very dire danger. The slingers move forward. These slingers are basically untouched. No cavalry or artillery shot has got to them, and they fire off a volley to pelt their enemies with those deadly ranged rocks that are hitting them at a very high speed. Some Santiago foot sergeants walk by in disgrace as they retreat from the field, and those slingers seem to be all that's left of the resistance from the Kingdom of Castile and Leon. The archers are slowly being routed, with the cavalry just running them down like they were fodder, and they will move on to the next units and push onward till victory has been accomplished, which should not be too long because the Almoravids have essentially won this battle. The Kingdom of Castile and Leon soldiers were very brave, but I think the numbers and the onager especially made a big difference in this fight, as well as the cavalry they had used to strike from that flank which the Kingdom of Castile and Leon was vulnerable, and thus routing the Spanish kingdoms. The Almoravids' enemies have been shattered entirely, and the battle is going to end there. If you enjoyed the mod, check it out in the description. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications.